Oh, the music?
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
do.
knew that was
Yes.
going to be on off, and I thought that was what they wanted to happen. She's like, "Yeah, you speaker." I was like, "I know they did. I went by a couple times."
And the coach is salty about it too, that he's now got to turn it off. He mad, talking about the kids need to work off. I was like, the kids.
Old white man.
I don't know who he is. I just know he wants to keep the music on.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 informal meeting of the Board of Education. This is an informational meeting only. We do not take any votes. And thank you all for being here today. This is our official Green Day, with the exception of Dr. Brinkman and Ms. Hall. This is Black Watch. Okay,
No.
So we will open today with, oh, that's right, it's me. Our our board minute today. We're pleased to share a community partnership supporting early literacy for our students. Through this initiative, second grade students from Hurd Elementary receive after-school literacy tutoring with transportation provided from Hurd to First Presbyterian Church. Tutoring takes place on Tuesdays and Thursdays for 1 hour each session, serving 9 students with capacity for up to 11. Volunteers from First Presbyterian Church were trained by our district staff and Georgia Southern University's partners in the science of reading, including the use of Just Right reader books. These research-based materials align directly with what students use during the school day, helping accelerate reading achievement through joyful, structured phonics instruction. Thank you very much, First Presbyterian Church. And any other church that would be interested, please contact Tamika Tribble. All right. Next, my favorite subject, summer learning.
Good afternoon. I'm Stacy Pottinger, Coordinator of Strategy for Academic and Student Services, and today I'm here with Secondary Network Superintendent Dr. Renardo Reeves, and we're here for Summer Learning 2026, Leveling Up, Challenge, Growth, and Confidence. Our theme this year reflects our commitment to designing summer learning experiences that not only support our students academically, but empower them as confident learners and leaders. As we think about summer learning, our focus remains on creating pathways for students to challenge themselves to grow through meaningful experiences and build confidence that carries into the next school year. The work you'll see today is grounded in intentional planning and alignment across our schools, district, and community. This includes attention to academic needs, enrichment experiences, instructional quality, and strong support structures to ensure that every student has access to opportunities that set them up for success. Dr. Reeves will start us off with our district summer learning programming. Sorry.
All right, good afternoon. I'm going to start by talking about summer learning goals. Our summer learning goals for this year are supporting students who need additional academic support. We're also looking at expanding opportunities for enrichment for real-world experiences, as well as ensuring all students stay on track for graduation in the upcoming school year. Lastly, it is to increase access through expanding opportunities. As we think about program design, we have 4 key areas. The first is initial credit, and this is for students who have failed courses in grades 10 through 12 with a 65 or below, or students who are behind for graduation. Something else that we also have is space available is our students who want to get ahead for graduation or early graduation. The second thing we have is credit and grade recovery. This is for students in grades 3-12 needing academic remediation. And these are for students who have failed courses with a 65 or above. We also offer this through blended learning. So thinking about leveraging our instructional platforms that we have in the district, we will be using those platforms to target small groups and individual student support. Lastly, we have our literacy enrichment for our English language learners, and this is for students in grades K through 2. This year, we're also able to add grades 6 through 8 due to grant funding increases. In addition to this, we have our RISE program, which is our adaptive recreational and instructional summer enrichment for our students with special needs, as well as our extended school year. So here's the interesting part. Summer school, what are the days, right? For teacher preparation, we've set aside May 28th through the 29th for planning days for teachers. Student instructional days will be June 1st through the 25th. Pardon the error, it says the 26th, but it's the 25th because we do not have summer school on Fridays. Summer school days are Monday through Thursday. The hours of operation for summer school for staff, grades 3-8, 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and for students, it will be 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Something that you will notice that's different is that the high school time is a little bit longer, and that's to maximize opportunities for academic support as well as enrichment. For high school, 9 through 12, the hours are 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., and for students, it will be 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I won't read all of the schools here for you, but I will let you know that we've already selected our summer school sites. We've divided it into regions. So we have our West, East, Central, South, and Islands regions. Within each region, there are at least 2 sites. Some regions have 3. For example, in the West region, we have Godley as our host site with the schools listed below that will be attending Godley, and then Groves. For the East, it will be A.B. Williams, Juliet Low, and then Savannah High. For Central, Haven and Jenkins. For South, White Bluff and Pulaski, with Windsor Forest High School hosting high schools. Last, at the Islands, we'll be using May Howard as well as Coastal. All of the schools at the sites, once this is official, they will coordinate to identify where schools will house their students. We do not anticipate any of the sites being overwhelmed. Program access and affordability. So we have district scholarships as well as program scholarships to ensure that cost does not become a barrier for any of our students. With our district scholarships, we'll offer them for all paid programs, all paid enrichment programs, and a link will be provided on the district website beginning March 16th, and it'll stay open until April 10th. For our program scholarships, which Ms. Pottinger will elaborate on in just a moment, we have them through Massey Heritage Camp, and it will also go through our district scholarship process, but it will be processed through the Friends of Massey. We also have Seismic. That Seismic scholarship application will be offered directly through Seismic, and it'll be available on their website. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Pottinger. She's going to talk to you all a little bit more about our enrichment programs.
Thank you. And as he stated, all programs, if they have a fee, will be on our scholarship application on our website. So we want to make sure that there's access for all families. And as we go through, I'll explain which programs have transportation provided also new this year for some. So first, we have our JRTC STEM Leadership Academy. This academy is held at Georgia Southern, and over 150 cadets from our region participate in advanced leadership training and hands-on STEM activities aligned to Savannah's high-growth industries. This academy is free to our JRTC cadets. The Style Studio Creative Careers Camp is for rising 6th through 9th grade students interested in cosmetology. It will be held at Savannah High School June 15th through 18th from 9 to 3. And the participant fee is $100, but it goes towards the supplies that students will be using as they create and develop their hands-on learning experience in the world of cosmetology. We have an MSAP STEAM camp. Transportation is provided for this camp. It is also free. It will also be held at Savannah High School for rising 6th through 8th grade students at Hubert Middle School, including current A.B. Williams 5th grade students, because they will be at Hubert next year, where they will be doing hands-on engineering design process projects, and at the end they present them to both the community and district leaders. SWAP, Student Workforce Apprentice Program, is for students 16 plus, May 28th through June 25th. As you see, none of these programs are on Fridays, so everything follows the Monday through Thursday summer school timeline. And that's to help our families as they plan, as they need, so they can also be together. This is for students, so any student that you know, 16 plus, looking for a job, Monday through Thursday, weekends off, please have them apply. It is already live on our district website, so you go to sccpss.com, click careers, and they can apply directly from there. If they don't see it, they can type students in the search bar and it'll come right up. A link has also been sent out to work-based learning coordinators, our high schools, so that they can help recruit and get the word out also for these students to apply. But we always like everyone. Please have them join. From here, our partners at Massey and Oatland are once again providing high engagement learning experiences for both elementary and middle school students. These programs offer hands-on exploration, outdoor learning, and local history. Some examples of our programs from Oatland are Science Magic, Mad Scientist, and Survivor. From Massey, they're offering Color Me Happy, an art camp through history, and Engineering Savvy. Both of these providers have reserved scholarship positions for some of our students. They are at 60% capacity already in registrations. Their registrations have been released. So if parents are interested, please have them register soon before they sell out. They are 9 to 3. There is not transportation provided for either program, and students do need to bring their lunches to both programs. We're continuing our long-standing partnerships with 21st Century. So 21st Century sites are indicated on your site list along with summer school. They are following the summer school schedule with extended day, so they'll have a longer day, but the Monday through Thursday, June 1st through the 26th. Times vary based on the level, and locations vary based on the site. Transportation will be provided, and the participant fee is free. And during these camps, both 21st Century and BOE PD Operation 15 are free to families, prioritize academic support, leadership development, and hands-on learning. Our BOE PD Operation 15 is for students, SEC PSS students rising 6th through 9th graders. It is June 1st through June 22nd. Times are 7 to 3. It does have a location change this year. It will be at Windsor Forest High School, and they do have lunch included.
Ms. Hall?
Talk a little bit about what that program is.
The BOE PD Operation 15? Yes, it's for our middle school students, so they go and they interact with not only our SEC PSS Board of Education police, but also other departments where they will go on field trips. They learn what does the police department do. If they want to be lawyers or a police department, they can learn about the law. And they take them on field trips. So not only are they engaging with officers, they're learning more about how do we move in today's society.
Different from the junior academy.
Junior achievement or
No, the police
junior
academy.
I think it transformed into this. It was Operation 15 last year.
I see.
It was held at Myers last year, if that's the one you're thinking.
Okay.
Is transportation provided for this one?
Transportation is not provided for this one. They did not state that transportation was a barrier for them.
Okay, all right.
Next, we have our Explorers Academy. So this is a very unique and is a result of interdepartmental collaboration and looking through an ROI lens. It's one of our most comprehensive summer experiences. So this took junior academy or junior university that some of you know from last year and combined it with where we had multiple CTAE camps. We combined them into one comprehensive program. And what we did was take the best of all programs so that students now have access both on the academic side, so your access to foreign languages, pre-AP for our high school, hands-on learning, maker spaces, and combined it with career awareness and pathways. So we're exposing the 3 through 5 and 6 through 8 to our pathways earlier, and then taking our 9 through 12 students and working with them on, okay, where do you fit in? What do you want to do? What can we help you with as far as your career pathway and language development? So we kept the rigor, we kept the pathways, and we kept the emerging leadership of both programs.
Yes, Ms. Grabowski.
So thank you for that explanation, because junior university, I think, has been a very popular program for many, many years. So I don't know, as you're promoting these programs, it may be helpful just to make sure parents are aware that this is kind of junior university 2.0. But anyway, because I think that's kind of
that is
built on
definitely their
success.
intention.
Thank you.
Thank you. And they requested, just so everyone knows, it will be held at Savannah Early College this year and not at Georgia Southern. And the reason being is that technology was a barrier at Georgia Southern, especially getting on for our foreign language and our pre-AP to the setting. So having it back on a school campus is going to allow them to dive deeper into those subjects. And we do have scholarships available for that program also.
And do we know how many seats are left because it is popular?
We have 150 seats available right now. However, because it is, kind of a pilot to see if combining these programs and what we do, we will be doing our metrics, of course, and our data and accountability. If we see we need to add additional, we can look into that because this is a district program.
No, what I was asking is, based on registration now, or has the registration not started?
It has not started.
Got it,
So
okay.
the cosmetology camp and the Explorers Academy opens on Friday.
Okay.
And transportation, I'm not sure if I said, is provided as well as lunch this year. I don't think they provided lunch last year. We have two, I'm going to call them pilotship programs. I know we've had a relationship with Seismic in the past. However, we've changed the way, again, looking through an ROI lens, looking through the barriers for our families, we've changed the way that we have organized it. So for Seismic, speaking to them because it is on a higher end level of a camp financially, they told us that their barrier was not finances of parents signing up. It was transportation. So we decided, to go as a team and to see what we could do, and decided that a hub system, 4 buses, 7 locations, they average 100 of our students a week through their camps. So we're going to pilot it this year. So those hub locations are located at the bottom of your site list, back on summer school. The summer school list. And you'll see we go from coastal to islands, Groves, Godly, Haven, Windsor Forest. So we cover every area of the county. There will be scholarships available also through our district scholarship for Seismic. So if there are parents where finances are still a barrier, they may apply through our district scholarship. And our last pilot program, we all know Ignite. We love Ignite, and we wanted to continue it through the summer. So we partnered up with Horizons, who offers your summer camp experience to students and who are in our community already. And so students will get a summer camp experience at our K-1 Ignite pilot schools for this year. We'll be collecting the data. Maybe we can expand next year based on that data. And they will be double dosed in Ignite for 3 of those 4 weeks. So they will go to Ignite Camp. It'll be located at Haven Elementary, and they will follow Horizons summer camp experience with 2 doses of Ignite per day. They are not back-to-back. So they'll have a dose of Ignite. They may go to swimming lessons. They may take another camp experience, and then they'll come back and get their second dose of Ignite reading. That is 8 to 3. Transportation will be provided. There is no fee. Title I is assisting us with covering that cost. And lunch will be provided. Our proactive communication to families. So this is all great, but how are we going to ensure that our families are informed early and through multiple channels? So we'll have a district summer learning hub on our website once we present it to you all. School-based communication from principals and counselors, direct parent messaging in social media, as well as our family engagement executive director will be pushing it out through Parent University, through churches, through all of her connections as well. March is our initial announcement. April, registration for summer learning will go out unless it's a specific program that's already been released, and registration to families. And in May, final reminders, transportation routes, and program readiness. So with that, do you have any questions?
Ms. Hall and Dr. Howard Hall.
Thank you so
Ms.
much for
Campbell.
this. And it's very exciting. It's exciting for our children who are ready for some challenges, and it's exciting for our students who need some support and help so that if they're facing not being able to be promoted, there's a chance that this would help them. And that's my question. So say I'm a third grader and I didn't do well at my particular school in math, so I'm going, the teacher at the summer site would be a very different person, a different methodology of teaching and all of that. But that person is responsible and can actually help me so that I end up with a passing grade for the year in math and I can go on to fourth grade. Is that correct?
So yes, it may be a different teacher. We'll have access to their data, their map data, so they'll be able to support them a
That
little
was
bit more
what,
accurately.
yeah, okay. So you have my story and know what I need support in.
Yes, we will have their map data, and we'll be able to provide strategic support to those students to help them pass. And for grades 3, like you just referenced, that would be grade recovery.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to add also real quick, because I did forget, if you are in summer learning, so say you have to go to mandatory required summer learning, there are opportunities in July for you still to enjoy the camp experience, and we are offering scholarships for those July experiences also. Correct. So you can still have a summer camp experience even if, you had a tough year.
Okay. Dr. Howard Hall, Ms. Grabowski, Mr. Smith. I'm sorry, Ms. Campbell, Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. The proposed initiatives is very encouraging, and I'm excited about it. We're offering no cost for students in most cases, and transportation is free, but it's not free for us. So I would like to know if is there any type of outline that details the specifics as far as what it's costing the district for this summer learning experience. I know that it will come from multiple learning sources, multiple financial sources such as 21st Century, that's a pocket of money. You have your state funding because that's set aside for schools for summer, summer learning. Also for your Title I, they have set aside for that as well. And we have scholarships, so I would love to see an outline of what it's costing the district to provide this service. And then another question that I have is high schoolers, for credit recovery, typically that's not free for them. There's an expense for that. Is it still the same way?
No.
Is there a fee for them to pay?
So we don't have a fee this year. We didn't have
Okay.
a fee for it. We didn't charge them last year either.
I can't quite recall. I remember, in the past, it's used to be a fee for.
Yes, and we will get you the cost. There will be a fund balance request, though, to cover all of this, because we do not have enough to cover all of the programs.
Yeah, because it's a lot, and it's awesome, it's wonderful, but as our discussion per this morning, we were discussing in the budget, what things cost, and this.
Kim?
So along the same lines as, I'm glad that you just brought up the cost. So one thing I've been thinking a lot about is our remediation. I love the offerings for enrichment. It would maybe be easier to, it would be more palatable to give more of our fund balance to those camps if we knew that there was some maybe sort of associated cost with kids who are remediating. And this is why. Okay, so let me just explain my thinking before someone thinks I'm being nasty or mean or anything like that. I worry, as a high schooler, I think, especially high school, would I rather go to school for 36 weeks or 3 weeks to get what I need from the school year? And I also worry that with some of our grading policies where maybe they're not getting zeros, they're getting 60s, so now the cutoff for how badly you're failing, right? So how much mastery, how much do we need to lift you up to a mastery level to get you where you need to be to go to the next grade? And I'm just on high school. We're not talking about third grade reading, right? So everyone knows I love Ignite. I want to spend any available money we have on Ignite. I think it's working. I think it's beneficial. But I do worry that if someone's so far behind and we're holding them in summer school to get them to a level that they need to be, are we making sure that they're promotion eligible, or are we actually looking at mastery for just 3 weeks of school?
So we're looking at both, right?
Okay.
We mastery as well as getting them promoted. Utilizing their data to provide those supports for them will help us to be able to do that. So it's not just the grades. The grades are just one of the areas, one of the things we're going to look at to make sure they're eligible for that particular support in the summer. But once we have that, we're looking at other factors, their MAP data, and any other assessments that they have to see where they currently are and provide support so that they are promotion eligible.
Yeah, and I hope too that we're looking at children who are falling into this lower grade category that may be struggling, what supports we can get them during the school year as well for specific interventions. Like, this would be a great place to do that in summer school. So to focus more on the older kids again, though, I do worry that if it's a class that they didn't master and they, quote unquote failed, to what degree, we don't know. If they're not giving zeros, it could have been gloriously failed, right? But it looks like a 60. So I want us to really think about, does 3 weeks get them where they need to be to have mastered a subject? It's concerning. So I guess what I would ask is maybe that we track in some way, like these students that go through that are maybe 9th grade and above, how often they fail a subsequent class. And do they fail summer school? Do we have any children who don't?
So there
pass?
is not participating, not showing up. There are situations where students do not pass summer school.
I'm wondering, and I don't know that cost is the thing, maybe it's something for us to think about, but some way to disincentivize it, because it's only 3 weeks. It's like, I could do anything for 3 weeks, right? Yeah, maybe we could track, further failing grades in the future, and if it's like a repeat sort of student, and they're just using the 3 weeks in the summer, I don't know, something for us to think about.
Thank you.
Ms. Grabowski?
So it wasn't on my list, but it is now since Ms. Campbell brought it up. I think what you're talking about is a bigger picture discussion around rigor in these alternative programs, because I have had teachers express extreme frustration to me when we are promoting twilight in our schools, because it's well known that it's way easier than just taking the class. So I agree 100%, whether it's like these alternative, like I'm all for remediation and getting our students to where they need to be, but it needs to be with the absolute same rigor that they would receive in the classroom. So that's just a bigger picture thing I'll put out there. So I was curious that you mentioned July is an option, but it's not listed in here. So can you clarify what is available in July?
Yes, so transportation will not be provided in July. However, the programs that are available are Oatland, Massey, and Seismic.
Okay, so it's just those specific.
Just those 3.
Okay.
Enrichment.
Okay, very good. I'm glad to hear the intentionality and investigation that went into the partnership with Seismic, and understanding that it wasn't necessarily the cost, it was the transportation. So kudos to the team on that. That's fantastic. For this swap for the apprenticeship program, do any of those have the opportunity to be a longer summer job? Because I know high school students like to be able to work and earn money during the summer, but if it's only for a month, it seems like there's not, I don't know.
So right now it's set up to assist with our programs. So the
Okay.
students go into each of our programs and they
Okay.
assist and work in our schools with our students.
Do we typically fill all those positions historically?
Historically, applications have been declining.
Well, that might be a reason. I have
Yes.
a high school kid who's looking forward to making money this summer, and I would love to turn him on to this, but he's going to want to be able to work all summer. So just, and, you know, I don't know if there's somewhere else we can put him in July to increase, but just food for thought. And then on the timing thing, thank you for the hard work that went into this. And I'll repeat a comment that I've made in the past. It's really helpful, I think. And I don't have kids in camp anymore, but I remember when they did, like, things start coming out in like January, and parents are on it.
Yes.
So if we can try and work to release this information earlier next year, I think that would be fantastic. But thank you for the work that's been done. Appreciate it.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you tremendously for your presentation. Two quick questions, point of clarity. These programs are established or they're accessible for students that want to recover, but are these programs helpful for students that want to get ahead as well?
Yes, so to answer that question, students who want to get ahead on a space available basis do have an opportunity. So as long as there's a seat and they're eligible, yes.
Okay.
Now, that's handled at the school level.
School level. Okay, last question for you on the bit about transportation. Transportation, do we still have our connection with CAT?
Yes, we do still have that connection, but I don't think we're leveraging them for any of these programs.
Okay. But it's open for all students?
Absolutely.
Right, so if they
But not
wanted
over the
to-
summer, though. We're not
it
paying for
does
any
stop during the
summer. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Ms., hang on. Ms. Hall, then Dr. Brinkman. Oh, okay. Ms. Hall, go ahead. Go ahead. If you're going to attack, please.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, CAT has not provided a service. I feel every day unfortunate for any individual that has to rely on CAT for their job and how they would even be able to maintain their job. They cut routes without any notification whatsoever. They'll just decide not to run one the entire day. Last week, I had to call and make a fuss. They literally told me, yeah, we're going to start that route at 6:10 this evening. And I was like, well, there are 10 students standing at the bus corner at STEM that are going to be standing there until 6:10. And finally, after me saying, I need to talk to somebody, I got somebody that said they were going to get a bus rolling, but they don't do what we do, where you call somebody in, you move somebody here, you move somebody there. They're just like, we won't run that line.
They don't tell anybody.
Yeah, so moving forward, we will definitely have to work on our contract if we continue to utilize them, because it is very hit or miss, unfortunately. And again, I feel bad for the citizenship of Chatham County that doesn't have transportation.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to make a shout out for Hubert Middle School, and I don't want my District 3 schools to get jealous, but they've been running a GMAS boot camp, 3 to 5 after school, and then on Saturdays, and it is immensely popular. I can't wait to see what the results are. And I don't know if this is the first year or not. Gloria Brackford has a welcoming in the morning. She stands there as the kids come in and all with the announcements and letting parents know what's going on. And they had some sort of boot camp celebration the other day. But we're always talking about consistency. If this could happen at Hubert, wouldn't it be wonderful if other school sites, you know, could adopt this and do it? Because the kids sound like they're having fun and like it's the thing to do. Are you going to boot camp this afternoon? So I really want to give them a shout out for all the effort they've put into that, and I really hope that the results we see when the GMAS scores come back pays off for their endeavors.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Next, we have our capital improvements update. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dre Jones, Executive Director of Capital Programs and Maintenance, and I'll be briefing you this afternoon. I believe you all have already gone through all of the finance portion. I'm going to get right to our construction design guidelines, unless you have any questions. Actually, Bill, we'll have you do the program schedule when we get there. Actually, I will briefly talk about this slide. Typically, when we're talking about spending money, we like to spend less money than more, but this is a good news slide. This year, we've spent over 43% of our deferred maintenance spending, as opposed to 17% last year. In a nutshell, what that means is that we've been getting behind this deferred maintenance with our HVAC, with our site improvements, and with our roofing. That translates into less downtime for our students and increased instructional time for our teachers. We don't have teachers calling in as much saying that the heat or the air conditioning is going out in the classrooms. This goes directly into the reorganization that's been done in capital programs and maintenance and being able to get the right people on the right jobs at the right time. All right. You all should have a copy of the updated program schedule.
Okay, we'd like to start with the program schedule. You had received a breakdown of that. This is really kind of the 50,000-foot level view of the schedule, and I think it shows a lot of good things. First of all, when you look at the projects, you can see at the beginning of them if they're E3, 4, or 5 projects, and it kind of again shows you when you look at the dates, we're kind of winding down on these E3 projects and very heavily engaged in the E4 and just starting to get involved in a lot of the E5 projects. So that kind of brings us right into the cash flow, because the cash flow is really based upon the schedule. And when you look at the expenditures, these come directly from a cash flow. They start with us looking at what our expenditures are going to be for each project, and then we can project what those costs are going to be and what year they're going to be, and of course we can do the same thing with the proceeds. Now this is E3. Obviously we're mostly completed with eSPLOST 3. One thing that I'd like to note, however, is that this one has taken a lot longer than other eSPLOST programs to close. And if you will recall, and you that were on the board back then, when COVID hit, we did put the brakes on a lot of projects, because again, that's what this thing will do for you. It will show you, do you have the money available to do the projects that you want to do? There was concern back in 2021 about whether or not what our proceeds were going to be. So then, using this product, this process, we were able to take some projects. We kind of shelved them because we weren't sure if we could proceed with them. We didn't know if our cash flow was going to be able to support it, but it did. We brought them back online, and so now, of course, they're taking a little longer to complete, but we are showing, and we're going to really try hard to get E3 closed out in 26. But there still is a lot. We've got $26 million of expenditures to make in '26 yet on this, so, we may land up going into early '27 with that. The E4 plan, again, completed as far as the proceeds are concerned, as we talked about. If you look under 25 was the last year of proceeds in E4. We do have, and projecting, some interest that we're going to be receiving on these dollars through '26, and we still have some capital outlay that we're going to be able to apply for also. But major cost occurring in '26. Again, if you look at yearly expenditures, if you look at that schedule, that's about $153 million of expenditures in E4. So hitting that one really hard through this year and into next year. E5, as we talked about, just getting started. Again, the good thing about E5 is that we had no expenditures in 2025, but look at the proceeds. We're way ahead in dollars. And so that's going to allow us to just jump into this and take off and to put a lot of projects, which we're planning to, and you can see in the schedule, a lot of projects are ready to take off. We've got the dollars for those. We talked last time about not needing to have or do any kind of a bonding, and as you can see, we'll have plenty of dollars to work our way through the E5 program, never getting into a position where we're even close of not having enough dollars to complete the projects that we are. And typically, again, I look at this, typically cash flows are optimistic. When you look at the actuals, they either are a little less than that as we work through the programs.
All right, I'll give you a brief overview of where we're at with our construction design guidelines. So we've received considerable input from some of our partners, our architects, as well as our engineers. We've been continuing to get input, but we're going to have to cut it off sooner or later. Just want to let you know that this is going to be a living document. Of course, there are going to be some minimum standards that will not change. The square footage for our classrooms, some of our ancillary spaces will not change, but as technology changes, as we find best practices, this will be a living document that we will continue to use to improve our schools. As of next month, we plan to have a version that is ready for the CIC. After we finalize the synthesization of the information we're getting from our architects, we're going to meet with our project management team once more, and we're going to run through the entire document. We're also going to meet with our internal stakeholders. We've had an opportunity to work with our Julian's team, the information technology folks, and change up some of our operations. So now we have our internal IT personnel working side by side with our contractors so that we can expedite material completion on many of our projects. But before we finalize the document, we want to make sure that we give our internal stakeholders an opportunity to take a look at it one more time. And then it should be ready for final board approval in May.
Ms. Kowalski?
This is exciting. Thank you. Can I request that we get it a couple weeks before the CIC meeting, or at least a week ahead of time? Sometimes we don't get our CIC materials until like right before the meeting, and it'd be helpful to have a little time to be able to review it in advance. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, we can do that. Again, it's a working document, so.
Understood.
Next, I just want to talk to you about some of the things that we've added to the construction design guidelines. As you know, many of our existing K-8 started out as elementary schools. We recently completed the gym for Pulaski. We're working on the gym for Georgetown. We're going to do a new gym for Garrison K-8. In our construction design guidelines, we're going to go ahead and plan for that. So it gives operations the flexibility to add additional grade bands in the future if necessary without spending millions of dollars in the future doing so. We talked about some of the coordination that we've done with internal staff. Ms. Tamika Tribble is working with us to develop the guidelines for the lactation rooms. It's already been a part of Georgia law, but now we're putting it in our construction design guidelines for both our staff and our students. Also, the wellness spaces, we find that the cool down rooms and the sensory rooms really assist our students in being able to self-manage, and those are also going to be included in our guidelines. We have some schools that have been doing it really well in the past, and we've used those as a guide. There's also a House bill that came out for sunshades. We've also already had personnel that have been moving forward with sunshades on all of our playgrounds. I talked to you about internal stakeholders. We're also working with our external stakeholders. We have our project management information system. It houses all of our drawings. It houses our change orders and our RFIs. We're moving forward with a better knowledge management system, so going even beyond those designs. So, for instance, with Savannah High School, we did a stadium out there which had significant unsuitable souls. We did a practice field out there which had significant unsuitable souls, and we paid for geotech. If I'm no longer working on that project and I have another project manager who needs access to those geotech files, we are making sure that they have access and can get to those documents in one click. For those of you who might have served in the military, after every exercise, you would conduct an after-action review. You would get those lessons learned, and then you would codify those. And we're making sure that after we learn a lesson, we're codifying it, we're putting it in there so we don't make the same mistakes again. That's all I had. Are there any questions?
He's looking at me. You know, I'm excited. No,
Ms. Grabowski.
I'm just very excited that to hear some of the things that you're already talking about, and can't wait to see the document. Thanks for all the hard work.
Absolutely.
Hang on, Mr. Smith? Okay. Mr. Smith, go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. I've had an opportunity to look through this handout that you've given. I have a couple of questions. One question is, would you say that do you have a school in mind in our system that is perfect as far as condition?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Perfect. Like in great, this is perfect. Nothing needs to be done to it. Your answer is no. So my next question is,
Building's in good condition.
right, in good
Absolutely,
condition,
great condition,
right.
but we don't have any perfect condition.
There's a reach, right? There's always something that can be done.
Absolutely.
To update it, correct. My question is, when I look at some of the lists down, the names on the list, I was wondering about some of the schools that have not been placed down. So I guess my other question would be, when we look at the placements and we look at the process that's at hand, do we ever create a handout or a spreadsheet that blocks off each school that's being worked on by district versus just item? Does that make sense?
Can you give me some more?
So we could say we can have a pool of schools that's getting HVAC work done.
Right.
Okay. My question is, have we ever or do we ever make lists or blocks that show the schools that's being worked on per district?
Yeah, I got you. So we don't use districts as a guideline to which schools we're going to work on. We primarily use our facility condition assessment and our FCI. While we're working through those, we do have in our conference room, we have a big map up on the wall, and we circle which schools we're working on now, which ones we have coming up in the future, and we can see which districts those schools are in. But it primarily boils down to our facility condition assessment and also the list that we get from the superintendent. We have a list of priority schools in addition to our FCA and FCI schools that we use. So,
I'll just add, if that's a request, it would not be hard to produce that by district. I am excited that the team is incorporating, and you all should have gotten an email invitation, a time and a period. I think it's on a quarterly basis. that we will sit down with each board member to discuss the projects in your particular district so that you can get clarity and updates so that you can share those out. But I don't think your request is a hard one. Like, we could produce that probably today if we needed to.
Yes.
So if that's something that you want, just let us know.
Awesome, yes, I would love that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, were you asking for a list, or you were asking if we prioritize by district?
There's no priority.
Yeah,
Okay, just a
He
list.
just wants to see by his district,
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
is being
Yes.
worked on.
Oh, yeah. That's too easy.
That's easy.
Okay, Mr. Katchmar?
You just say too easy?
I said too easy
Probably the
because
easiest
I
thing
have my
I've
team
had to
backing
do
me up
after
over
this
here.
meeting, so
Careful.
not
That
hard at
one
all.
request, that's too easy.
I got some stuff that I think is too easy. So back to the design guidelines real quick. Just keep in mind, the overarching goal we've had on design guidelines is for the board to say, here is our policy or philosophy on what should be in each school. And then the weeds of the design is up to you all. You know, what kind of insulation and those kinds of things. But the board should be looking at things like, we want every elementary school to have music room, art room, you know, whatever it is. So as the last time I saw the design guidelines, we had kind of philosophy, big picture stuff at the front, and maybe at the front of some sections, and then we got into the weeds later. So to the extent it's still delineated like that, or if it's not, make it clear. I don't want the board to have to read, and you don't want us to read through 300 pages and start editing drawer pull size and, you know, plumbing fixtures and those kinds of things. So the intent, at least my intent, and if the board's got a different idea, speak up. But we should be looking at this from, and what we're going to vote on is we're going to approve the design guidelines. It'll basically be a policy of the board. Board policy is, we believe functionally all elementary schools should have this, all middle schools should have this, all high schools should have this, et cetera. So that was the intent of this exercise. It's been the intent the last 2 or 3 times. We looked at the design guidelines. Some people were on the board back then, some were not, and different people were leading that analysis. But as we're finalizing the document and looking at it, at least that was my intent in asking for this project to be updated. So if somebody else has a different idea, speak up now, let staff know before they finalize the document and get it to us.
It almost feels like that we're requesting 2 different things, but I see how they can go together. You want a policy that is just foundational. This is what every school should have. And then the guidelines, to me, are the ones that they're guidelines. They're not laws. You don't have to follow them to the letter of the law. The guidelines are just that. They're guidelines.
Right,
They're things that we should try to do, but we're not married to doing them.
Right, but I'm not asking to recreate or rewrite the wheel. What we've already got in there is, here's what the district requires for every middle school. And it says art room, music room, gymnasium, cafeteria.
But the rest of it is 300 pages.
Right, but we should be looking at that to make sure we agree. We want every middle school to have an art room, a music room, because that assumes our policy is we want that programming in middle schools. The bigger things, like every school, every elementary school should be, or K-8 should be designed for middle school for flexibility. Back when we built Groves, or the new Groves, the DEH complex, the intent was to make it a flexible space, which worked out when we altered what its mission was before it opened. So I'm not asking to recreate or reorganize the document, because I think a lot of this is in there already. As we're polishing it for board review, and as the board reviews it, we should be looking at it through that lens, which is, as a board, we want to make sure each school of this style has these facilities for this type of programming. So I'm not asking for a rewrite unless it was totally changed from last time, but our goal is to set the 30,000-foot benchmarks, not the weeds of what each piece of porcelain should look like.
That's helpful, thank you.
That is very helpful.
But, okay, Ms. Grabowski?
No, 'cause
Yeah, no, and I agree, like, we need to understand how the, vision is being fleshed out. And I think the couple examples that you just gave are helpful, like what are the things that are kind of changing? I would like to get some clarity around guidelines versus, because Mr. Kachemar was just using the example of, every middle school would have X, Y, Z, but if we say, these are only guidelines and we'll do it if we can, that's a slippery slope where we've gotten in trouble, I think, in the past some. So I think understanding the processes of, and I'm not disagreeing that they should be guidelines. However, I think we should have some guardrails in place that if we're going to deviate from the guidelines, there is a process by which it happens internally, and also so that the board is aware of where those deviations are occurring and the rationale behind them. And so I'll just
and to
make
me,
that
that's a
suggestion.
part of the policy.
Right, but I just want to put that out there now, because I think, and believe it or not, I really don't want to read 300 pages, but I do think that it's important, because I think that one of the kind of lessons learned is sometimes where we didn't have enough detail in the design guidelines, that's where it was really easy to say, oh, we're just not going to do that. So I will be curious just to understand more kind of if the structure or anyways,
I
how
think
they're
I
kind of
understand what you're saying.
developed. So thank you.
Dr. Springman?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on Reverend Smith's discussion on like having that, we had a map. Y'all gave us a map. It was real big. I think I still have it folded up somewhere. What?
That was from one of the SPLOST.
From one of the previous SPLOST to tell our story. I don't see why, we could put that online and continue to tell our story constantly to where you can, zoom in to your area and see that East Plus One, this school was a new build, and crud, if, again, it's extra work, but you click on that school and it could actually tell you like when it opened. I feel like there's a way that, and it's gonna take some time to build, but that's an easy story that constantly can be told. And when somebody calls and says, hey, I don't feel like stuff's happening in our district, you can be like, boom, check this out. This is what we've done. And even what we've done outside of East Plus, like what maintenance have we done on buildings just to have that running. Y'all probably have a document already that has all that, but if we conceptualize it into a map, I remember when y'all handed that to me, I was like, this is gonna be real easy to sell East Plus to people, because I can just unfold this in front of them. And first of all, it's big, so they're already like, wow. And then you can go through every little area and see, look, yes, we spend money places and it goes everywhere, and it's not going to just one district or another. It's intentional, it's based off of these scores. So, I don't know, somebody in PR is already going to shoot themes at me in a minute.
That's actually the map that I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the map y'all have. So I'm sure it's on some file because it got printed. We just got to put it online.
We can certainly do that. I think the challenge we're having right now is how to make it ADA compliant. A lot of these documents have to be ADA compliant, and that has to be in place by April 2026. And so a lot of the pretty things that we're used to seeing, they don't translate into ADA compliant documents, and that's a federal mandate. So that's what we're working on right now, is how to translate some of these documents into ADA compliant documents. But we think we have an answer. We're excited about the answer. I won't give it away because I don't know if it's 100% yet, but we stumbled upon some things this week that give us great hope. Because right now, that's been a very manual process of literally somebody sitting down and making a document like this be ADA compliant. One individual person doing that.
Yeah, there's a whole host of components with that compliance measure, and April of 2026 is a deadline set federally, and you have to put yourself in the position of a person who may have conditions, say, with sight challenges, and going through our documents, if they're using a speech-to-text component, when they tab through it, you got to make sure all your headers are aligned and everything makes sense. But I love the idea of an interactive map.
I love it too.
I think that there's probably tools out there, and as the superintendent mentioned, we are finding tools that will help us improve our ADA accessibility components, and all of these documents you get for board presentations, for example, have a host of challenges for us from the ADA side that we're working through and that will ensure we're fully compliant.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Thank you. Mr. Jones did give an example of policy when you talked about Senate Bill, I don't remember the number, regarding shades for playgrounds.
Right, shade cells.
That sure would have been nice back in 1985 when I taught kindergarten and half. We stayed in many days and played in the gym when it was hot outside. I just have a question about it. Is it costly to do that, and how long do they last, and are they transferable? And the reason why I ask were they transferable, we know that soon we'll have a new Windsor Forest Elementary. Will that just be demolished, or can it be transferable to another particular site?
So I have to defer to Nicole on that one. She is our playground expert, but I will tell you that those shade cells have to be engineered. They require some extensive footers, and they last for a while is relative here in Savannah, Georgia, where we have many high winds. But what we're also doing now with many of our projects, we're getting larger, longer warranties on our playgrounds, on our ball fields, so that we don't spend as much time maintaining those things. We'll have the experts maintaining them.
Let me give you an example. Last month in board, you approved those shades at J.G. Smith, $250,000 for those.
Yeah, we did.
But we did put it in our budget for a annual cycle for our shades as we go to replace more and more and make sure that we have them on a 5 to 10 year replacement cycle.
We're talking about throwing shade.
And Windsor Forest Elementary will get theirs. I did want to revisit Reverend Smith's question before. No, we don't have any perfect facilities in the district. We do have some really good ones that we've been using as a basis of design. Like we have Bloomingdale, and we have those epoxy terrazzo flooring throughout. We have our Formy Early Learning Academy, and those courtyard, the playgrounds and the turf in the courtyard. So we have bits and pieces that we found that we've done exceptionally well, and that's why we're talking about doing these after-action reviews after each project. So we're not waiting 5 years to do another CIC update. After each project, we're taking those lessons learned and we're adding those to our construction design guidelines, so that when we do our very next project, it's going to be better than the last.
And just for a point of clarity, I wasn't trying to say that our facilities are not amazing.
Right.
My point was that every facility, there's always going to be something that needs to be updated or fixed or renovated, always something.
Right.
So that was my point. So, but I thank you for your overview.
Thank you.
Ms. Hall?
Okay. I don't want to turn this into a CIC meeting, but
It's already there.
yeah, it's kind of there. But Dr. Watts, I don't know if you've even had a chance to visit our Yamacraw Performing Arts Center, which is adjacent to Garrison. But the idea when that was built, and it has its flaws, but it's a beautiful facility. The idea was that students, say, it's District 3 at Garrison, but my kids at Gadsden, I don't believe one time in the last 5 years that they have had an opportunity to go there and have a performance on a real stage with the curtains and the audience and that kind of thing. And that was the whole point, that this would be a facility not just for my Garrison children, but for other students in the district to have a chance. And so when we're building these things, we have to have the implementation piece so that it doesn't kind of go away, so that now really it just seems like it was built as an adjunct to Garrison. And we're trying to, so I'm extending that invitation to principals to please, get in touch with Ms. Parks and make use of that facility.
Absolutely. I'm glad you're lifting that up. That will probably live and breathe in our strategic plan as we think about how do we want to articulate what is the baseline experience students are supposed to have at first grade. What is an experience every second grader should have? What is an experience every third grader should have? And certainly that can be something that is built into that, or, maybe not by grade level band. By the time a student leaves fifth grade, that student should have an opportunity to do some type of production, and that production would include that. So that is going to be covered in our upcoming strategic plan.
All right. We're moving on.
Okay.
Change order
It's
report?
in Adobe. It's in Adobe, Dre.
Oh,
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, I'm pleased to present the fourth quarter change order report for 2025. All change orders between October and December of 2025. There were 3 of those change orders that you have approved throughout the course of board action because they were over $50,000 and required board action. You can see the rest of them. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on any of those.
Anyone? Bueller? Hi. No questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. I'll accept, I'm sorry. Yes, I'll accept a motion to go into executive session. Moved and seconded. All in favor? All right. Thank you. See?
thank you.
There's 2 of them. There's